who don't know Flying Kites, we have a small school in rural Kenya, and about a year ago we began our journey to scale through teacher training and supporting a network of public schools in our district. And right before we began to launch this sort of big journey to scale, we knew that we were going to have to find some pretty exceptional leadership to lead our team in Kenya and take us there. And after about a year of searching, or for me it feels like 11 years of searching, we finally found our champion, Warosho. She's taught me more, not just about education, but about true equity than just about anybody else. To see her work in Kenya, I mean, her day starts, she's working with the poorest of the poor. 80% of the kids we serve are only getting one meal a day before our interventions. 60% of people in our community do not have access to water in their homes. So she really embodies everything that we strive for, and it's such an honor to work with her, and I know that it's going to be great for you guys to hear from her what she does and what she believes. Warosho.
Good morning to you all. First, I'd like to say thank you, Lila, for the introduction, and I also want to say a huge thank you to Pastor Phil to allowing me to come here, stand in front of you, and actually share our success, our dream, our vision at Flying Kites. Just like Lila has said that 11 years she's been working on this project, I want to say I believe I was being prepared elsewhere. While she was busy fumbling, I was also busy fumbling in my life elsewhere, and finally, God brought us together. And that's how we have worked so hard as a team to actually achieve what we have currently. So I'd like to start by, first of all, talking just a bit about myself and my background, to then bring it to what I'd like to share with you today. And my background, I came from a Catholic family. And as all Catholics, they send you to a Catholic school. And the Catholic school that I ended in was actually run by members of Opus Dei. And I'm sure you must have heard of the sect called Opus Dei, whose headquarters are in Spain. So I joined the school. And Opus Dei, which is Latin, means work of God. And I liked that title. I said, oh, work of God, I like that. And everywhere you go, I always feel that you get an experience that you go away with. I was there for 6 years. I never became a member of Opus Dei, but I learned their way of prayer, which I still embody up to today. Prayer, I know people reserve time to say, this is time for me to pray. I'll pray in the morning, I'll pray in the evening. But being in the school that I went to, I learned that prayer is everything I do every minute, every second. And I have this thing always in my head where I'm constantly talking to God like he's just seated there. And there are times, yes, I'll do something, I go, oh, I'm so sorry, God, yes, I should have thought about that, yeah, I'm sorry. And that way I feel I am kept in check all the time in what I'm doing. And so I left the school. I will not say that I was the strongest believer or Christian, but I knew I had God, and that's what I went away with. That's what I left the school. So eventually, I ended up being a teacher. Again, it wasn't something that I was thinking that's what I want to do, but my degree ended up being in education, and I got into education. And what I do know is when I started teaching, I was like, I really want to be the best teacher that I can ever be. And at that time, I know I talked to God. And I told him, please, God, don't ever let me be responsible for a trauma of any child. Be with me, guide me, and make me the best teacher that I can be. And that's how I started my teaching career. In that teaching career, I ended into what we call the private schools in Kenya. They're international, they follow the British curriculum, and they cater to the diplomats who come to Kenya. So these are super privileged schools. These were schools where even I was like, whoa, I'm enjoying this. classrooms that have smart boards, the Mac, everything you want. Meals, 3-course. We start with soup, bread, you name it. This is it. This is Africa. This is the real deal. So, but as it went on, there's always something when you're restless, when you actually believe, I want something more. But one of the things I found in working with these schools is actually children who have learning challenges. And there I started finding something that I'm so excited about. Children who were struggling in reading, children who were just awkward, children who were not quite fitting in with the other kids. And there I found my passion. I said, I like this and I want to do this. And found other things, other ways that we can actually have these children know who they are, know who they matter. And one big thing that I got pretty involved in the school was drama. And I knew I'd spend times, these kids would not read, but would sit there and learn the words together. And finally, I'll get them on the stage, and people would be, wow, how did you do that? And those have been some of my most precious moments where I don't cry from sadness, I cry from joy. So at that time, you're just sitting there and say, yeah, wow. And the parents look at you and say, how did you do that? And it's simple, just believing. And again, I say, God constantly there with you, okay, and telling him, yes, we can do it. Because when you believe in God, trust me, anything can happen. So that's a bit of my background. And then now going on to, yes, I took time in these schools, but I was still restless. And when we're restless, we always have excuses. And some of the excuses I had is that, no, my children are in school. If I start following what I want to do, which is actually working with a less privileged community, that means I might not have enough money to send my kids to school. And when you really think about it, or I reflected on it, that was an excuse. If I truly believe that God is actually calling me, he knows what he's going to do. He knows he will look after me. And I had to have that faith, and I had still not built that faith. Not yet. Now, and this is where I find it a bit funny. So you keep on and say, yeah, I'll do what I feel I should do. And somehow, from nowhere, somebody reached out to me and said, would you like to head a school in rural Kenya? And being the polite person that I think I am, I said, thank you for your email. I'll get in touch, which I did not. And that was January of 2016. So the year passed, and then something happened in the same year of 2016, August, and I always say, when God wants you to do his work and you're not listening, he throws you into a storm, where you have to stop and say, hey, what happened? Why am I in this situation? Why am I seeing darkness? What is going on? And I know most of us always are praying and telling God, please do this thing, please do this. And you're saying, God is not listening. Trust me, God talks all the time. It's us who do not listen. We never listen, but he's there yapping from 6 to 6. And you're there saying, he's not hearing me. It's you who's not listening. So I took a moment and I did listen to him. And then again, somebody texts me and tells me, can you send your CV here? And while I was sending it, I said, isn't this the same address that I saw in January? I said, okay, let me send it. And I did. And then eventually went and talked to the lady who had approached me. And I said, I need to see this place that you people want me to go and work. And I had no clue where Flying Kites was. And this was still 2016, trying, okay, where is it? I don't know where I thought it. And they gave me a direction, like, really? That's where I need to go to get to Flying Kites? And eventually, I did get there. So I got there, and I knew it was going to be a tall order, but I was still like, I think I believe in my God. I'm sure I'll make it. I don't know how, but I'm sure I will. And that's when eventually, actually, Lila, we had a Skype call. That's when I met her for the first time. And I don't know why she believed that I'm the one. And what was so funny is then they tell me, Warosho, I don't think we can afford you, the kind of salary maybe you're used to. And I was like, how can money become the deterrent factor for not doing God's work. So I told them, okay, let me sit down and see, okay, how much do I need to survive? Rent, maybe, So I started trying to calculate what do I need to just survive in Jabini. So it's an odd situation. Since when do you send your salary to a boss, But that's what I did. I said, I think I can survive on this, and they gave it to me. But Lila, I'd like a raise. Yeah, so, and that's how I went, blindly. And I went, and I hadn't even seen the school. I accepted a job, but I hadn't yet seen the school because the offices were on another different site. And here I am, I've accepted the job. I've now gone to the school, and I'm going around and saying, okay, yeah. And the thing that actually put me off was the toilet, long drop. And I was like, no, I can't do this. But within a week, it was like, my goodness, that was the least of my worries. And I'm not lying today. I can even have a bed in those toilets. I mean, when I look at what other challenges came up, I was like, that is nothing. Because slowly I started interacting with the families. I started seeing poverty levels I had not seen, despite the fact that, yes, I come from Kenya. I should know better, but I did not know. But fortunately, I also had people who were guiding me, and they were also telling me, Warosha, you'll be shocked. You'll see things you haven't, but you can't show pity. And I said, okay, I can't do that, because I'm not going to be able to go there and build 20 houses. I'm not going to go there and decide suddenly I want running water, but there's something that we can do, which is what we've been doing. We are giving our community, the kids we're working with, the best education ever. We're actually giving them the kind of education that some people in Kenya are paying for like $5,000 a term, but we're doing it for nothing. And why are we being able to do that? Because of you. Because of what you are doing. I know Katie, who's a member of this church, is that sometimes she comes and the team that we have here in Boston, that's all they do. They fundraise. And I'm the one who's working with these people and seeing what exactly can we do. So I work with also very elderly women. We're in a community where daughters have died so young, they should not have. And you have these old parents who are now parenting again, trying to start making a living, not really for themselves, but for these kids, trying so hard to get them back into school. And I'm not yet a grandmother, but I hear the love of a grandmother is so strong, it's so beautiful. So you can imagine these grandmothers, what they want for their children, and the fear they have that they may not see it through. And then you walk with them, and you tell them, it's okay, we're here, we will take care of your grandchildren. We will see them through the school. We'll give them the best education, and just that gives them some peace of mind. Now, again, as I said, God uses us. And sometimes you don't have to be a believer to be used by God. We know it. Our greatest scientists, psychologists, they're all non-believers, but they have done great work for God. And what I'd like to do now is, because I must say I'm not the strongest person in reading the Bible, and you know it, in the Catholic Church, we are just good at reading the letters, but not quite, we're given what it is. However, there is one thing that I saw in the book of Matthew, chapter 25:40, where it says, where Jesus says that, and the king shall answer and say unto them, verily I say unto you, inasmuch as you have done it unto one of the least of those my brethren, the grandmothers I'm working with, the children I am working with, ye have done it unto me. And it goes on, he that receiveth you receiveth me, and he that receiveth me receiveth him that sent me. And then going again, still in Matthew chapter 26, verse 11, one of the verses I really, truly love is, for ye have the poor always with you, but you have not but me, ye have not always. So yes, God is there, but it is us who's actually living with the poor. God is actually asking us to do his work. He is asking us to receive these people. And you can do it in different ways. Some of you have done it whether it is in monetary. Some of us have physically actually gone there to live with the community. People like Katie and Lila here, and I know we have some supporters here with me. There's Mary. Lisa, I have not met yet, but I know she belongs to this church. They do it in different ways, but we're all doing the same work. We're all doing God's work. And coming to a church and finally be able to talk about him is really, really great. So what I'd like to do, because I'm talking about sharing success. Now, Pastor Phil has talked about how he has come to Flying Kites and said, wow, this is a beautiful campus. And it was previously not like that, which then takes me back to my background of prayer. Let me tell you, God is not a practice. God is the real thing. And when God is the real thing, it means his work is the real thing. So we at Flying Kites do not take shortcuts. We do work on our campus. We make sure we have good lawns. We make sure we're planting grass. We make sure that we're clean. We make sure that the children we're working with are getting the best education. We train our teachers to make sure that they are impacting the kind of learning that we want our children. So there's no shortcuts in Flying Kites. We're now working with other partner schools because we want the same success we're having Flying Kites is also going to other public schools. So right now we're working with 4 public schools. We are training with their teachers. They come to us. They see how we're doing our lessons. We go to them. We go to their classrooms. And that, for me, has been one of the greatest things that we at Flying Kites have done. Going out than what we have just with us. So moving from maybe working with children, now we're reaching to almost 3,000 children. And the work has just begun. We're not there yet. So while Lila in her own little world was getting ready in the 10 years, and me in my little bourgeois life was getting ready, we have finally met the Spirit. God brought us together. And now we're being able to achieve what he has actually been, what I believe he has been preparing me for. And as much as I say that I did not know how will I survive, I have survived so well. And I've done that, and we have done that as a team because of God actually allowing us to do that. So as I come to the end of what I'm talking about is, I'd like you to go away thinking, what is your purpose? What's your journey with God? And also remembering whatever you do, how you wash your dishes, it's still an act of faith. Anything you do it well, because that's still God's work. How do we sweep our houses? How do we make our beds? How do we talk to one another? How do we treat one another? It's a prayer every minute, every second. And when you sleep, and trust me, we sleep so many times, but the beauty of sleeping is that you can always wake up and continue. And that's one of the things that I always tell the children that I work with. I don't want you to be perfect. You will make mistakes, but you will learn from them. What I want you to know is that you have to keep the fire burning no matter what. And I always give them this analogy of a thermometer, that the spirit in the thermometer or the mercury in the thermometer will never rise, or it will rise as much as the heat I give it. That's all I want you to think about. What you are giving, the effort you're putting into everything that you're doing, that's what matters. And so long as you're doing that, you will go to some places. And so before I could finally come, I just want to say thank you for the support this church has been giving us. And I'd like you to continue. As I told you, this is just the beginning. So I want to finish off with a quote from, I told you, Catholic, we like letters. So the letter from the Apostle Paul to Timothy. And I really love this quote, and for me it's my favorite, 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 7, that where he said, Apostle Paul had all these big dreams, he was a very active kind of apostle who when some people, okay, you know how it is, some people discover God and they become the ones who know more than the ones who are already there. That's how Apostle Paul was, until finally he realized, okay, what I thought I'm going to see the end of the world or whatever it is I'm going to see, but his final words, which I love, he says, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. So what I want to leave is that, and we don't know when our day will come, but will we be able to honestly say, and say it with conviction, I have fought the good fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. And every believer runs his or her own race. Each of us are enabled to be a winner. And together, we will be winners. Thank you.